any discussion we're having, and this video series is about bass icons. Any discussion we're having that talking about bass icons has to include Sting. He's got to be part of the conversation. He has introduced millions of people to the bass, and he is an incredibly talented bassist, as well as an incredibly talented musician, as well as an incredibly talented singer. And I think his iconhood, his stardom, sort of outshines the amazing things that he's managed to do on the bass. They get overlooked. The fact that he's not as flashy of a player as a lot of others gets overlooked, but he is an incredibly, incredibly talented player who has written some incredibly, incredibly difficult as well as awe-inspiring, big emotion, big feelings, inspiring, very emotional music, very beautiful music, which is it's when you think the bass, you don't necessarily think beautiful. He has some incredibly beautiful bass lines that just really cause those emotions to swell both while you're playing them, and beyond they complement the music, the lyrics of the song very well. You can listen to that bass line and still feel the feelings that you would feel when you're listening to the music. Sorry, the lyrics, even if the lyrics weren't there. And so, the fact that he can do that, right? And the fact that not only that he can do that, but he did that with popular music, where that you're hearing on the radio in the limelight, in the forefront, and he's doing that with a bass. That in itself is just truly impressive. His bass lines are nowhere near as simple as they look. He has some that are, I can't remember whether it's "Don't Stand So Close to Me" or "Every Breath You Take," "Walking on the Moon." One of those from that era. It's basically all harmonics right next to each other, and they're very difficult to get those harmonics within the proper time frame, um, and actually play them. And how he does it to this day, I've got to cheat to play that song. So as an intermediate player, I still haven't figured out how he does it. He's got, and he makes it look so simple. It sounds like a very simple song. When he's playing it, you're watching him play it. It looks so simple, and it isn't. It is not easy to play all of his bass lines. All musicians have an exception to that rule. So if what you've been introduced to is the simple stuff, and you're thinking, well, what are you talking about? I played Roxanne just the other day. It's two notes with a long space and then two notes. How hard is that? Well, that's the exception to the rule. He's got some very complicated bass lines that are incredibly difficult to play while also being incredibly moving and incredibly beautiful. Um, his iconhood in itself is an example why he's got to be included in the discussion, because he is this huge icon standing up there, with a microphone. And what does he have in his hand? He has a bass. So here, people who may not have ever, considered playing the bass, they stand up there, they see this big legend like Sting playing the bass. Maybe that inspires them to play the bass. In fact, for many, it did. No question. For many, the fact that Sting played the bass is why they play the bass. They weren't tearing apart his bass line saying, look how amazing and awesome those were. They were saying, Sting plays the bass. I want to be like Sting. I'm going to pick up the bass. Um, his music, in addition to dragging people into the bass that may, and into the bass world that may not have otherwise gone there, he's managed to drag people, because they were fans of his, into various genres of music that they might not have otherwise appreciated. And that was from the very beginning, right? The Police, his first band that that we know him from, like his first band to truly be successful and everybody flocked to. Um, they were very punk rocky, right? You can definitely hear the punk rock influence in them. And so in my case, both they and the Ramones introduced me to punk rock, dragged me down that rabbit hole. And before you knew it, I'm a fan of the Sex Pistols, Suicidal Tendencies, Dead Kennedys, Dead Milkmen, etc. Right? Suddenly I'm a punk fan. And, you know, maybe he didn't do that for you, but maybe he introduced you to new wave, right? He's being played on the same channels as, same radio stations, sorry, channels. Thinking, MTV back then was the only, pretty much the only channel they had. And for a while, not even that. It's being played on the same radio stations as New Wave. So The Cure, Violent Femmes, Depeche Mode, New Order, right? So maybe you liked maybe you were a big time, rock and roll guy, and had absolutely no interest in new wave, but you hear the Police on the rock and roll station, like them. Now you follow them over to the new wave station, and you're introduced to a lot of new wave songs. Or maybe you're just having a conversation with friends. Go, yeah, if you like the Police, you need to check out this band. And then before you know it, if you like that band, maybe you should check out this band. Before you know it, you're a full time, what we call alternative rock now, what was then called new wave. Maybe you've discovered the Police later in life and they dragged you towards those genres. Who knows? As he broke off into a solo career, um, the jazz influence, which probably is the fact that he plays bass, that, because the bass lends itself very well towards jazz. In fact, many of us who got into this because of rock or punk rock or whatever have become bigger fans of jazz than we otherwise would have because we play this particular instrument. I think that's very much the case with Sting, because as he has gotten older and has achieved more success and now can just play whatever he feels like playing, um, I don't know if that was ever, if the monetary success was ever the reasons why he chose the particular genre, but he can buck the monetary and has very much throughout his career as his career advanced, bucked the monetary incentives and just sort of gone towards the love of the music. And while doing so, dragged his fans kicking and screaming towards jazz. I was one of them long before I picked up the bass. I always wanted to play bass ever since I was a kid, but long before I actually did so, because my parents said, "Hell no, you're going to play the piano." Before I ever picked up the bass, Sting was the one dragging me towards jazz, and I had absolutely no interest. As a kid, teenager, there were a few jazz artists and bands and stuff and songs that I knew very well and loved and appreciated, as we all do, but I wasn't running out and buying those albums. Um, and I was running out and buying Sting stuff. And so he has introduced me to that genre, helped me appreciate it more. And before you know it, I was, in fact, and kind of getting into the progressive jazz scene a little bit. Much more so now that I actually play the bass, but I still lean very rock, very punk rock. That's my roots, and very new wave and 80s music, which Sting is very much a part of. Um, Definitely part of that conversation. He is an actor, so and obviously his stardom, rock stardom, is why he got the roles that he did in the early years. And many of those early roles weren't that great, but his more advanced stuff, his more recent stuff, right? He actually proved to be a very talented actor. He's played father figure in a couple of movies and stuff. So I don't have any trouble picturing a kid, in recent years, seeing him on the screen and their parents saying, "Oh yeah, that's Sting," or a friend saying, "Yeah, that's Sting," and they go, "Who the heck's Sting?" You go, "Oh, he's a musician. He plays the bass. He was in the Police. You know that song Roxanne or Every Breath You Take," or they start rattling off songs, and that's how they get introduced to Sting. Sting introduces them to the bass. Now all of a sudden they're playing bass. I have no trouble imagining that scenario for people. Just as I have absolutely no trouble, because I know it's true. In my case, he's one of the many inspirations of mine. You know, much like Flea, who inspired me to pick up and play the bass. Unlike Flea, and why he doesn't get the credit is that again, he's not very flashy. He's his bass lines are very, very pretty. They're not very flashy. Um, so, what else can I say about Sting? He's an activist. One of the things I admire about him is that, at least looking on as an audience member, right, or someone, a fan, I don't, when he gets involved in causes like world hunger and stuff, unlike a lot of other artists, it isn't, "Look at me, I'm so special, I'm such a movie star, look at all the wonderful things I'm doing." It's, "I want to introduce you to this cause I care about. Now focus on the cause. I'll be the voiceover. Forget I'm here." It isn't about me, it's about these people that need our help. And that, most people, I shouldn't say most, but a lot of times when a superstar tries to do that, it's they're the superstar, the focus is on them. It seems to be about their ego, so you get turned off. Um, that doesn't happen with Sting, at least not. I don't feel that way about Sting when he's trying to get in those causes. I genuinely believe that he cares. Just like when he talks about music, he can be very serious about his music, but it doesn't come, or and music in general. When you watch interviews of him talking about the bass and talking about different genres of music, he gets very serious about it, but it doesn't come off as pretentious, right? It's that he loves his art. He loves art in general. He loves music in general. He loves music. He loves the bass. He loves singing, and he wants to convey that and have a serious discussion about it. And again, it's not about him, right? It's about the music. It's about the instrument. It's about the art form, and he comes across very well that way. So I think he's for a superstar, for a someone who has 17 Grammy awards. I hope I got that number right. And somebody who has a one-word name that isn't really their own. He's managed to handle that stardom and that limelight very, very well. So that's something that you know we could all seek to try to emulate. Even if he's faking it, which I doubt that he is, he's certainly managed to fake it well. He's certainly convincing at it. So, I believe him. I believe he's genuine. I like him all that much more for it. Um, I think I would be a fan of his whether he played the bass or not. I think the fact that he plays the bass just is just incredibly awesome and makes me a much much bigger fan. And of course, originally drew me to it as well as he drove me towards other styles of music. So I want to talk really quick. This channel, my channel. Well, first I want to apologize for the fact that there are no that we're basically staring at a picture of him and you're listening to me talk. Talking about ego, right? That is not intentional. When I first started doing this series, I wanted, I actually put some actual production value into it and was playing different videos of different songs and referencing, why that bass line is so awesome and, demonstrate their talent and jump around to different, audio clips and stuff and maybe show a movie clip. In his case, he's an actor. Unfortunately, I can't do that. If I try and do that, YouTube, the software, instantly detects it and then pulls it down because some copyright holder out there owns those rights. So unless I'm doing a bass cover, I can't include any copywritten music at all, or YouTube will flag it and I get a copyright strike. So all I am capable and allowed to do, and I don't know how other people get around, do what I just described and get away with it. All I'm capable of doing, like get my videos pulled down, is to show you a picture or two and then talk. Um, I still think it's, a discussion worth having and a conversation worth having. And why am I doing it? Not because I think I'm an expert on the bass or because I think I'm an expert on these individuals. I am bored out of my ever-loving mind. We are locked down with the coronavirus right now. Um, I already have a channel where I'm putting my YouTube channels up there, my bass covers up there, not because I want to show, again, not because I'm trying to show what an awesome bass player I am. This started off as just a way to track my progress um, using Rocksmith to learn how to play the bass. It was my primary tool in the beginning. It's now, it was my only tool in the beginning. Now it's my primary tool. Um, I've looked elsewhere for inspiration and instruction, but I still very much enjoy playing Rocksmith. It's fun. It allows me to play a song I haven't taken the time to bother to learn, right? I can just sight read and play and sound halfway decent. And so, and also other people appreciate it, right? New people learning Rocksmith appreciate it. People not totally introduced to Rocksmith appreciate it. People who haven't figured out how to patch their game and download the CDLCs, which we have instructional videos on our YouTube channel to do that. So please watch those. They can just watch songs that they don't have in their library here on YouTube and play right along with me. So this being a Rocksmith centric and oriented YouTube channel, I do want to mention that Rocksmith, the Steam channel, will have some official songs, they call them DLCs, that you can pay for and download on the Steam store and then use Rocksmith to play those songs. There are lots more Sting and the Police songs available for download that were made by users like yourself and myself. Only they're better at coding the stuff and better at using Rocksmith than either of us are. They have, made user songs that you can download for free over at customsforge.com And like I said, watch the videos on how to patch and how to find those songs. There's tons of them out there. I don't know what Sting bass covers I have up. If I do, they're going to be pretty old from when I was still learning. But I will try to link those in the description if I have any up. If not, I will take the time to go record some new ones. Like I said, some of them is tricky. I still struggle with Englishman in New York. The middle part of that is very tricky. So not to show my ineptitude as a bass player, but he makes some bass lines that sound so simple, and then when you go to play them, you're like, not so easy as I thought. So very talented musician, very talented bass player, who has inspired millions, and therefore that's why I think he is a bass legend and icon. Please like, share, subscribe. All three help us considerably. Thank you so much for watching and listen to me ramble on.